Yeah, I'm Chandra Kala, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Vigyan Institute of Engineering for Women. Today we are going to discuss about the transmission system. So, what is the agenda of today's class? Introduction about the automobile engineering and classification of automobiles and components of automobiles, types of gearboxes in automobile. What are the outcomes for today's class? At the end of the class, student can understand the different types of gearboxes used in automobile engineering and their working procedure. Okay. What is automobile? Automobile is a self-propelled vehicle. What is self-propelled? Self-propelled means the power generates inside the vehicle with the help of engine. So, engine is the power unit in a automobile engineering. So, the definition for automobile engineering is a self-propelled vehicle used for transportation of goods and passengers on the ground. It is called automobile. So, automobile means it generates powers inside the vehicle, and it means it's a self-propelled vehicle. It is used for transportation of vehicle as well as transportation of goods. So next, classification of automobile according to the purpose. Based on the purpose. So we have two types of automobiles: passenger carriers and goods carriers. We know the passenger carriers like cars, buses, transportation vehicles like two-wheelers, also like goods carriers like trucks and lorries. These are the goods carriers. Based on the fuels used, we have different types of vehicles. Now we are technology as well as technology improved. So we have different types of fuel used vehicles. So these are the basic vehicles, like first one petrol, next diesel, electric vehicles, and steam. Steam means at present we are not using steam vehicles. In previous we are used in locomotives. So steam locomotives we are using. At present we are running with electric locomotives. Okay, so based on the capacity we have two types: heavy motor vehicle and light motor vehicle. So heavy motor vehicle means heavy capacity vehicles. Light motor vehicles means like cars, two-wheelers. These are the light motor vehicles. Next, based on the construction, so single unit and articulated unit. So based on the construction we have two types. These are the structures. So single unit means so complete a vehicle, so including the driver cabin as well as the passengers cabin. These are including the same chassis. This is called single unit. Let us take articulated unit. The example for the articulated unit is tractors. So for the tractors, the driver's cabin is different as well as passengers or goods cabin is different. That is the example for the articulated vehicle. Based on the drive, left hand drive and right hand drive. In India we are using right hand drive. In foreign countries we have left hand drive automated vehicles. So based on the number of wheels, for two wheelers, bikes and bikes we have two wheelers. So three wheelers means autos. So and four wheelers. These are the basic division classification for the automobile. So, what are the components? What are the basic components in automobile? The main basic components are chassis and body. So, chassis and body, this is the, for the live example, we'll discuss about the human body. We will compare the automobile with a human body. Like human body, we have skin. So, body is like a skin. For automobile, is for body is appeared outside, but chassis is like a skeleton of a human body. Inside the skeleton we have different types of organs, like chassis also different types of auxiliaries and power plant unit, different types of structure inside the chassis. Like human body also, inside the skeleton we have different types of organs, like, but the main function of the human body will runs based on the organs of human. So the main function of the automobile is also based on these based on these auxiliaries and power plant units and body structure. So these are the main components in the chassis. So in the chassis we have power plant unit, power plant, body structure, transmission and control and auxiliaries. In power plant, engine is the main. So main component in the automobile. So engine is like a heart. Engine is like a heart of the automobile engineering. Automobile. So body structure, we have frame, suspension system, axles and wheels. So body structure means frame and suspension system. These functions, these are the like a structure to maintain a automobile. So next, transmission system. The transmission system main function is to transmit the power from power point to the axles. So transmission system main function is to transfer the power from the generated input to output. It will transfer the power from the power plant unit to the final axles. So clutches, gearbox, universal and propeller joint, differential and axial wheels, these are the components in the transmission unit. So next, control unit. So control unit will control the vehicle with the help of the steerings and brakes. So these two are the control units. Next, auxiliaries. So auxiliaries is all nothing but electrical equipment inside the automobile. So starting, so initially we have to start the vehicle with the help of the ignition switch. So that is the starting switch. It will help. It will works based on the electrical system. So next, charging unit and lighting unit and horn and gauges. These all are comes under the auxiliaries like electrical equipments. These are the basic components in automobile engineering. So today's class we are discussing about the transmission system. In the main in the transmission system is first of all clutch, next gearbox, but today's class we are discussing about the gearboxes. So what is gearboxes? The gearbox is a mechanical device used to increase the output torque or change the speed. Why we are using the gearbox inside the automobile? So automobile we are using the gearbox. If we want to increase the speed and we want to decrease the speed, we'll use the gears. So the example for the gearbox function is if the vehicle is going hill part. So hill part we need vehicle with low speed with high torque. We have to generate high torque in the vehicle and the speed is less. So for that we have to use different gear speeds. So generally we are discussing about the first gear and second gear and third gear and reverse gear for general gearbox units. In for that we have different types of gearboxes also. We'll discuss about that. The shaft of the motor is connected where the gearbox is connected. So the gearbox is connected between the clutch shaft to the propeller shaft. The gearbox is connected between the clutch shaft and propeller shaft. So we have to discuss about the gear reduction and overdrive. So how the gear speed is increased and how the gear speed is decreased. So here we have to discuss about the two gears. Okay. So this is driven gear. This is driven gear and this is driver gear. So with the help of the drive gear, this driven gear will rotate. So here we have number of teeth. So here we have number of teeth. Let us take here we have 10 number of teeth. Here we have 20 number of teeth. Drive gear is having initial input to rotate the driven gear. So smaller drive gear to the large driven gear, driver gear speed is increases. So driven gear speed is increases. So here this is drive gear and this is driven gear. So in this case that driven gear this driven gear speed is decreased. In overdrive, so here we have drive gear is large gear and driven gear is small gear. In this case the driven gear speed is increased. So initial input with a less drive gear and output to the driven gear. So this is gear reduction, this is overdrive. Okay. Classification. So types of gearboxes. Here we have three types: manual transmission, epicyclic gearbox and automatic transmission system. In a manual transmission system, sliding mesh gearbox, here we have three basic types like sliding mesh gearbox, constant mesh gearbox and synchro mesh gearbox. And second one is epicyclic gearbox and third one is automatic transmission gearbox. Here we have two types: hydromatic gearbox and torque converter gearbox. So today we are discussing about the manual transmission gearbox. What is manual transmission gearbox? With the help of the gear rod, the driver manually can apply can change the gears. So with the help of gear rod, we are changing the speed of the vehicle. So these are the three transmission system we are generally using in the normal petrol and diesel vehicles. So if you are using the automatic transmission vehicle, we'll go with these two gearboxes. So today we are discussing about these three transmission systems. So first one, sliding mesh gearbox. The sliding mesh gearbox, let us discuss the construction of the sliding mesh gearbox. Here we have three shafts. This one is clutch shaft, this one is main shaft, and this one is lay shaft. So clutch shaft is connected to the clutch. So the power coming from the clutch, it will transfer to the clutch shaft. So here we have gear A. Next, main shaft. The main shaft is also having gears. And lay shaft, here we have 4 number of gears. Above that we have one ideal gear. So lay shaft, in the lay shaft, these gears are fixed in condition. So these lay shafts are fixed. In the above main shaft, these two shafts are mobile shafts. These two shafts are mobile shafts. So this is the input coming from the clutch shaft. This is the construction. Here we have A gear, B gear, C gear, D gear, E and F gears. Okay. Next, G gear, and this is the ideal gear. Okay. So when the first gear is the low speed gear. Okay. How the first gear will be applied to the vehicle. So in the power is generated, the power is coming from clutch shaft. The power is transferred to the gear B. Next, it will transfer to the gear C. So when the driver is applied, so gear shaft, this movable D gear is attached with movable this C gear. So D will engage with C gear, then the power is transferred to the D gear. So in the first gear we have in the first gear we have here in the first gear A to B, B to C, C to D. Here the speed is less speed. So this is in this case this is the drive gear and this is the driven gear. So in the drive gear is less number of T's and driven gear is more number of T's. We'll discuss in the gear reduction. So here the speed will decreases and torque will increases. In the first gear the speed will decreases. Okay, let us discuss the second gear. How the second gear will be applied to the automobile. So from the clutch shaft we'll get the input power to the A gear. So next it will goes to actually A and B always engaged in position. So A and B, the power is transferred to the B gear. So when the driver is applied second gear, so this F gear will engage with the E gear. So the power is transferred to the E to F gear. Okay, this is the second gear. So the second gear is the high gear. Next, we'll discuss about the third gear. The power is coming from clutch shaft to the A gear. So A gear is engaged with the B gear. So this is the same speed we have. Next. Okay. In the third gear, this clutch shaft will directly engage with the main shaft gear. So the power is as usual transferred to the main shaft gear. There is no function of the lay shaft gear here. So the power is transferred to the direct clutch shaft gear to the main shaft gear. This is the third gear. So same speed, what the input speed we are generating, the same speed will transfer to the main shaft. Okay, so fourth gear, it's a reverse gear. When the vehicle is, the vehicle want to move backside, so we'll apply the reverse gear condition. So in the reverse gear condition, the power is transferred to the A gear, A to B gear, so B to G gear. Here we have one ideal gear. So here we have an ideal gear. So this power will transfer to the G to so G to D gear. How the reverse gear will be applied? So we'll going to discuss about the directions of the gears. So This is the drive gear and this is the driven gear. This will rotate in a clockwise direction. So this will rotate in an anti-clockwise direction. This is the function. So let us take this A gear will rotate in a clockwise direction. So it will rotate in a front view. It look like this, and it will rotate in a clockwise direction. The attached gear will rotate in a anti-clockwise direction. So this is anti-clockwise direction. So this gear G will obviously rotates in a anti-clockwise direction because these all are placed in a same shaft. So this is anti-clockwise direction. So ideal gear will helps to change the direction of the gear. So anti-clockwise direction will change the clockwise direction. So obviously we'll get the anti-clockwise direction in a D gear. So initial input is clockwise direction. We are getting in the clockwise direction to the A gear. But for when we are coming to the D gear, we'll get the anti-clockwise direction. So with this principle, the ideal gear will help to change the direction of the gears. So with this, we are will use our vehicle. With this, our vehicle will move to back side. Next. Okay. What are the advantages of sliding mesh gearbox? The construction of the sliding mesh gearbox is easy to understand. And here we are using the spur gears in a sliding mesh gearbox. And we have main disadvantages is the sliding mesh gearbox, we have movable gears in a main shaft. So sometimes these movable gears will this movable gears, the continuous movement of these gears will get some wear parts in a gears. So for that we'll get some noise and mechanical efficiency also decreased. So to overcome these disadvantages, we'll go next. We'll overcome these disadvantages. Constant mesh gearbox is developed. In the constant mesh gearbox, the construction is for the lay shafts and the main shaft and clutch shafts, the construction is as usual. But in the constant mesh gearbox, the gears are constantly meshed. Here we don't have any movable gears. Here the movable part is dog clutch. With the help of the dog clutch, we are engaging and disengaging the gears. So the construction of the constant mesh gearbox is this gearbox is dog clutch. Here this is clutch shaft. Okay, this is clutch shaft, this is main shaft, and this is lay shaft. The clutch shaft gear A will mess with gear C. It is placed in a lay shaft, and A, B, C gears, ABC gears and G gear, these 4 gears are placed in a lay shaft. Okay, so next, second gear, lower gear and reverse gears, these 3 gears are placed in a main shaft, and 2 dog clutches also attached in a main shaft. Okay, how the gears will apply to the constant mesh gearbox? Here we are using the helical gears. In a constant mesh gearbox, we are using the helical gears. Okay, how the first gear will applied? So first gear is the lower gear. We know the speed will less when compared to the remaining gears. So how the gears apply to the constant mesh gearbox? Here the clutch shaft power comes to the gear A. Okay. So the power coming from the clutch shaft, it will goes to the gear A and gear C and A to D. So it will go like this. So A to C, C to A and dog clutch. So how this will happen like that? this dog clutch will engage. So the gear rod is attached here. The gear rod, when we are moving to the gear rod to the first gear, the driver should move the dog clutch to the left side. So this dog clutch will engage with this gear. So here the first gear will apply. How the power will be transmitted to the this gear means the power is transferred to the clutch shaft gear, next lay shaft gear to the main shaft gear. So here the power is transferred to this gear. So this gear will engage to this dog clutch. Okay. So the power is, this dog clutch will engage with C gear. So the power is transferred like this. Next, second gear. How the second gear will apply when the driver moves this dog clutch to the when the driver moves this dog clutch to the right side. So this will engage with this gear. Okay, this gear B. So gear B is a constant mesh gear. So the power is directly okay. So this dog clutch will engage with the gear B. Okay. So D2 dog clutch will engage to this gear B. The power is transferred to the the D2 dog clutch is engaged with this clutch shaft gear. So these two points will engage. The power is directly transferred to this main shaft gear. Okay, so when coming to the third gear, the clutch shaft will engage with the clutch gear and D2 and splines and main shaft. So this clutch shaft will directly engage to this main shaft. So D2 dog clutch will engage with this clutch shaft point. So the power will directly transfer to the main shaft. This is the third gear. So when we are coming to the reverse gear, we know the reverse gear directions, how the directions will be changed. We'll discuss earlier. So in the reverse gear the power is transferred to the clutch shaft to the gear C, and this gear G to this dog clutch D1. So the dog clutch D1 transfer the power to the main shaft. This is the reverse gear. We know the direction, how the direction will be changed. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of this constant mesh gearbox? For the constant mesh gearbox, here also we have some dog clutch. Dog clutch will move left side and right side. Here we get some noise, so that will the mechanical efficiency also decreased. When compared to the sliding mesh gearbox, the efficiency is more when compared to the sliding mesh gearbox. But when compared to the synchro mesh gearbox, the efficiency of the constant mesh gearbox is less. So to overcome this problem, we developed the synchro mesh gearbox. So now we are discussing about the synchro mesh gearbox. The function of the synchro mesh gearbox is to change the direction of the to transfer the power from the input shaft to the output shaft. So here the construction of the sliding mesh gearbox. Here this is also we have constant meshes. So constant meshes of gears we have. The main component is this synchro mesh unit. So this synchro mesh unit, the dog clutch is replaced with this synchro mesh unit. In this synchro mesh unit, these are the construction of the synchro mesh unit. How the gears are applied in the first gear in a synchronous unit. Here this lay shaft is having fixed gears. So the main shaft is having movable gears, but these are also fixed gears, but these gears are not directly mounted on the main shaft. So these gears are mounted on the bearings. So here we have some bushes type material. On that we have placed this C gear and D gear. These are not directly mounted on the main gears. So this synchronous unit is mounted on the main gear. So it will this gear 1 synchronous G1 and G2, these two are connected to the gearbox. So when the gear rod is moved left side, this will attached with this gear. So this will when the gear rod is moved right side, this gear is engaged with the synchronous unit is engaged with this point. Okay, so let us discuss about the first gear. So okay, so here this is the gear B. So this gear B is the input speed will get to gear B. So input speed will get to gear B. So gear B transfer the power to the U1 gear. So U1 same speed will go to the U3 gear. So U3 gear here gear reduction will happen because this drive gear is less speed. The drive gear is less when the driven gear is more number of teeth. So here we'll get the gear reduction. So this power is transferred to the U3 to D gear. So D gear, this dog clutch is engaged to the D gear, so that with the help of this dog clutch, the power is transferred to the main shaft. This is the first gear. Next, second gear. So the dog clutch is moved engaged with this gear U2. Okay. Next, gear C. This dog clutch is engaged with the gear C. The power is transferred to the input shaft. This is the input gear. So the power is transferred to the next U2 to C gear. So the dog clutch is engaged to this point. So the power is transferred to the C gear to the dog clutch unit. So next, third gear. In the third gear, the main shaft and input clutch shaft, these two are engaged with the help of the synchronous unit. The power is directly transferred. The same power we are getting to the input, the same speed will transfer to the main shaft. So this here we have 500 rpm. The same 500 rpm will get this main shaft also. So these two speeds are same. So in the reverse gear, the dog clutch is engaged with gear B. Okay, the gear E. The dog clutch is engaged with gear E. The power is transferred to the B to U. U2 next gear E. Here we have one ideal gear to change the direction of the vehicle. Okay. Generally, we are using for the automobile is a synchronous unit gearbox. We are using for the automobile unit. For more number of cases, we are using constant mesh gearbox. For accuracy, we are using synchronous gearbox. Okay. When compared to the constant mesh gearbox, the synchronous gearbox is efficiently working, but it is having more number of components. So for that, the components of more components, the cost of the equipment is also high. So the synchronous unit is used for the high accurate vehicles like BMW cars. These heavy costly vehicles, we are using synchronous gearbox. For normal automotive vehicles, we are using constant mesh gearbox. Okay, thank you.